Yeah, it's kind of been a while since I had a build that I was comfortable enough to show you guys. I know it's been like, I don't know, a couple months that I made something that was really powerful, but there it is, so I'm making a video on it. Archmage Hierophant, really powerful, really good combo. If you guys have been trying to play Archmage this league, you probably know there's other versions out there. You could play Assassin, which seems to be like extra mega damage. Problem being, in my opinion, if you want to go for Assassin, look, the damage is going to be there. It's just, you don't really need it. The other thing is, I think this league is more about the actual, would we say, defense? That we don't get from other ascendancies. Hierophant helps us reach that defense. We kind of need it because the Delirium is pretty rippy. Not that Metamorphs weren't rippy, it's just that everything is rippy now. Everything. So I'd rather stack defense. And you're gonna see the damage. I think it's pretty nuts for like a build that's not even trying in terms of expense on the gear. My gear is pretty cheap. Only my 6 link cost something. The rest was rather cheap. Of course, I mean, there's other routes to go. You could go crit, but like I said, it would require a heavy investment. If you guys got the money, if you got enough exalt, please feel free to go. But you're gonna see the Phoenix is gonna melt pretty fast. In my opinion, I'd rather be more tanky and not invest a fuck ton of currency in it. But that's up to you. I'm gonna show you the build after this Phoenix fight, but listen, there's not gonna be a Shaper fight for this one. I think the video is gonna speak for itself in terms of damage and defense. I just want to do something else. I have another build in mind, and so no Shaper fight for this one. Also, I don't have the currency to actually buy the fragments and do the Shaper fight. I kind of need the currency now, so I'm gonna be working on that. Let's check the build for now. Alright, so before we start talking about the build, I really wanted to explain to you guys the new gems, the new skills, the new whatnot we're going to use into this thing, which one are powerful, what are the downsides, and everything. So, Archmage by itself is very, very powerful. We are using 3,700 mana costs, which translate roughly about 4,700 flat lightning damage from one support gem, which is Archmage here. This is the basis on which I wanted to build this thing, and by testing this, I noticed a couple things. First off, there was 3 ways to build this. The Ivory Tower version, which was basically a low-life version. Cloak of Defiance, which is the one I should have on me right now, but I was testing the crit one. And then it's the crit version, okay? The crit version, and I'm going to explain the good, the bad of every single one of them. In my opinion, going for Energy Shield build while having like over 5,000 mana is useless, because Mind Over Matter and everything mana related will bypass Energy Shield and only applies to life. So all that big ass mana pool, you can't really use it to survive unless you go for life. Going for life and Energy Shield at the same time has a huge downside that personally in testing and in my own opinion is not good, because you always want to invest into a recovery rate, because normally your life is going to go down and you want it to go, if you don't get one shot, you want it to go up really fast. And investing into a fast recovery of Energy Shield and a fast recovery of life is basically impossible. So yes, and technically it would give you a better life pool by itself, but your recovery rate is going to be so trash that in my opinion it's not worth it. I tested with the Ivory Tower and I really wished it worked, because it felt very obvious, but it didn't, because I couldn't use Mind Over Matter, and I tried to use Cloak of Defiance. What's it called? Cloak of the what? Arcane Cloak? Yeah, that's it, Arcane Cloak. Haha. Wanted to use Arcane Cloak, which basically use 75% of your mana and gives you a kind of a life pool on top of it. But there was one big downside, and it is that it's not reliable at all. Meaning, it has compared to every other guard skill, Arcane Cloak has a 4-second cooldown, and it's very hard to get reduced. Percentage of quality is not going to reduce it, and neither is well, that's basically the only thing you can use normally. And the sheer 4-second cooldown that it starts with makes it very hard to use. I did try to stack some cooldown recovery speed on everything to make it work, but I could barely make it around 3-second cooldown. And in practice, 3-second cooldown is too long. Like, you're gonna have a 3-second cooldown off Arcane Cloak before it can be used again, and it's just not reliable. And it was better to just use Immortal Call, or if you can afford it and then want to invest into strength, you could use Steel Skin. But personally, I prefer Immortal Call. So yeah, so basically the only good thing about the new gems was Archmage, and it's very powerful, but it forces you to invest, because that's the thing. Is it overpowered? It's very powerful. Might need to get tuned down a bit, but I wouldn't say it's overpowered, simply because you need to invest a lot into mana, and it doesn't do much for us other than like cover our defenses and our attack. Oh wait, that's all it needs to do. Oh, it's very powerful, seriously. It's strong. Personally, I would recommend GGG to nerf it a bit. It's too strong. But only in a life version. Like, don't try Energy Shield. It's just not worth it. There's just no reason for you to go Energy Shield. You're gonna need to have to invest into Energy Shield recharge rate. You won't be able to use Mind Over Matter. And whatnot, so it's very, in my opinion, a lot better to go for full life support. And I'm gonna talk quickly about the crit version. It's very simple. We need to invest a lot into mana. We need to invest a lot in life, because if you don't get a high enough life pool, even if you have 10,000 mana, you can only take as much 50-50 of damage of mana and life. So if you have a 3,000 life pool, it means that you cannot get over 6,000 hit because you're gonna die. So if you bring your life to 4,000, you can use up to 4,000 mana, all right? So very simply, the crit version was too passive intensive. Like, doing a spell crit version is very simple. You get an armor like this with a critical strike chance on spell to give them a good basis of crit chance so they can scale off something. And then you go here and you just pick up every single node that you can for crit. And that makes it very passive intensive in terms of damage. Normally that would be okay, but in our case, one of the things that we discovered is that we could abuse one of the passive, which is Liquid Inspiration. This is what I decided, because I try to go mana regen. Trust me guys, mana regen is shit. I went and picked up every single mana regen I could get on my tree. I went and got mana regen everywhere on my gear, and it's not remotely as fast as this new thing, okay? Basically what this does is just give you mana regen from the flasks you get. So you get an eternal an enduring eternal mana flask. And just to give you an example of how fast it is, because you probably didn't notice in the video, one click, this is how much my mana goes down. I'm gonna use my flasks. Okay, it's extremely fast. There's still a little bit of danger if you try to, let's say, use that skill, like cast your skill and you're like in a pack of mob, because it's not gonna absorb the damage. So just be careful. It's a synergy. You guys are gonna get it once you start playing it. Just don't try to cast a new Stormbrand while you're in a big pack of mob, because your life's gonna get too low and you might get one shot. It's pretty much the only time I die is when I use my Stormbrand and I'm not supposed to. Basically the goal of the build is just to spam the Stormbrand like you saw in the map. And you get 3, 4, 5, I think I have up to 6 Stormbrand, and then we just use Brand Recall, okay? That's all we do, okay? And it's smooth, it's fast, it has a crazy amount of damage, around 2.5 million in my calculation, which is more than enough. If we go to crit version, we would be even stronger, but I do not recommend it. Cloak of Defiance is what I should have on me right now, but I sold mine to test the crit version, and it's not as good as the Cloak of Defiance one. Trust me. I'm gonna go around my build, but it's very it's very simple. Download the Path of Building. You're gonna see how much Fever Mine I got. I think I got 4, and you're gonna see every detail that you need to see on the Path of Building. I'm just going to go over my build real quick so you guys have an idea. I wanted to explain to you like what the main idea was. And so we're gonna use a Cloak of Defiance here. We're gonna need a wand with some cast speed. It's the main thing we need. And mana. We need mana on every single piece we can get. Trigger a seconded skill. A seconded skill is not mandatory, but your hand is going to thank you, because I'm starting to get Carpent Tunnel playing this build. It's really click intensive. You're gonna need to have Wave of Conviction socketed in it, of course. Voidbringer is the thing I wondered if I should or shouldn't get it in there. Like, okay, having a pair of glove there would make it easier for me to get some resistance, but it's just too strong. It makes my Stormbrand costs like 500 to 600 more mana just by having those gloves, which translates by like 700 flat lightning damage. There's just no better gloves, and I wanted to get rid of them because they give me no life, they give me no resistance, they give me nothing else than this, but it's inherently so powerful. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to use this. Need to put on the DND. My bad. Essence Worm, because it gives us Wrath, which in turn gives us 22% more spell lightning damage. Might be some rings out there that's going to give you a better ratio of damage, but I doubt it. Maybe a mirror or like a 10x rings worth of things. I don't know what you could put there. My opinion was a lot more simple to just put Essence Worm and Wrath in there. You go for a leather belt to cover your resistance, your life, and your mana. It's basically what you want on every single piece. Cooldown recovery speed is cooldown recovery speed is nice for the brand. It helps. Increased mana recovery rate is okay. By the way, I don't have a piece on me that is worth, other than my chest, that is worth more than like 10 chaos. It's very, very cheap. Oh yeah, right. I forgot the boots. The boots cost me 1.5x. Tailwind. Okay. I thought the build was not to my liking in terms of clear speed, because the brand was not attaching quick enough on the mobs. Even if I was stacking cast speeds like crazy, I didn't know what was wrong. Then I got Tailwind boots, and the action speed double dips on cast speeds and also on brand activation frequencies, because the action speed is faster. As soon as you get Tailwind on your boots, it's going to be like a world apart of difference. So get this really fast. Shield to cover mana, resistance, life, and mana. Same thing for the amulet. Same thing for the ring. And for the head, we're gonna go for the same thing. Try to cover some dexterity that you might need. It's gonna make you save some passives. So that's basically it for the gear. The skill sockets is pretty obvious. Conk Effect, Elemental Focus, Archmage, Stormbrand, Lightning Pen, Control Destruction. Second Wind, Flame Dash here for the transportation. They nerfed Flame Dash, but the Second Wind, in my opinion, just makes it even better. It has a faster cooldown recovery than it used to, and I like it. Cold Snap for the trigger skill with Wave of Conviction to give you some frenzy charges while you're moving around in the map. Cast on damage taken, Second Wind, Immortal Call, Orb of Storm, Curse on Hit, Conductivity. Honestly, I'm not even sure the Second Wind here works. I just didn't know what else to put there because we have more sockets than we need. Brand Recall, Second Wind. This is the most important one. Clarity. Okay, we need to use at least one Clarity because we're using a Watcher's Jewel with Clarity, so the mana regen rate is higher. And Righteous Fire for the boss single target. Quite simple. Okay, Flasks, Oak, Roomies, Quicksilver, and Enduring Mana Flask. This is the mandatory one that you absolutely need. I had a blast playing this build once it was up. It was a pain to test because there was a lot of testing involved since nobody has a lot of info on these. I strongly recommend it as a league starter. It's very powerful, very simple, doesn't need a lot of uniques, and it scales very well if you start investing in it. Clear speed was great. Single target bossing was nice. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to show you a Shaper kill simply because I do not have enough currency right now to like buy the fragments, do a Shaper just to show how strong the build is. You saw how fast I melted the Phoenix, and I have other Guardians recorded. If people absolutely want to, I could link you more. I finished recording and I forgot something very important, which is basically the core of the build. The main reason why I didn't go mana regen in this thing, on my gear is because I put mana regen everywhere on the passive 3 and then mana regen everywhere on my gear, and it was still very low, very slow to like go up. And if forget it, if I get like a 60 less recovery thing in a map mod, like I was done. But what makes it very powerful, and it's a bit passive intensive, but it's very strong, is the Liquid Inspiration Keystone, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, basically makes it that you increase your mana recovery, farm flask, and increase mana recovery rate. And because GGG are dumb, we can stack it. 4 times was enough for me, and then we get the frequencies because increased frequency, people don't notice, but it's basically almost a more multiplier because it multiplies how much frequencies your brands are gonna pop at. But I really wanted to show you guys the Liquid Inspiration, and this is why you basically need no mana regen boost on your thing. The rest of the info you can get into the path of building, but this I wanted to explain because I want to make sure people know how you regen your mana, and you don't have to spam the thing because basically when you use your mana flasks, it's just gonna go up, and even if it's full, it's gonna keep trying to go up. So it's great. Just try it out. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If there's a question, you want to know how I build my crit version, which by the way does double damage, but is too squishy in my opinion, just ask in the comments. I'm gonna link it to you, or I'm gonna help you build it up. But I think this version is better because simply the meta right now revolves around staying alive more than damaging the enemy, because the Delirium things are pretty rippy. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day, and see you later.